He was once a god kinder than any other. In order to make humans live a happy life, he did not hesitate to use his divine power to transfer all the misfortunes from humans to himself. After his efforts, the boy who had been suffering from diseases instantly recovered. Seeing this, people regarded Zero Fortune as their savior, who had saved them. They all knelt on the ground, praying that it could help them get rid of their sufferings, and Zero Fortune never refused anyone, doing his best to absorb all kinds of misfortunes. However, as he absorbed more and more misfortunes, his body began to suffer from backlash. Even though he endured inhuman torture, Zero Fortune still thought it was all worth it as long as humans were happy. That was his happiness. In the blink of an eye, 2.5 years passed when Zero Fortune returned to the village again, wanting to see how those he had saved were doing. The scene before him left him completely dumbfounded. Freed from the trouble of misfortune, humans began to show their true colors. Everywhere was filled with laziness, arrogance, and desire. Humans had gradually lost themselves and embarked on an endless path of degeneration. At that moment, a man passed by and knocked Zero Fortune to the ground. Although the man had completely changed, Zero Fortune recognized him at a glance. He was the boy he had once cured. However, what Zero Fortune did not expect was that the man not only completely forgot him, but even thought he was filthy to death and spat on him. Zero Fortune couldn't understand why, even though he had risked everything to absorb the misfortunes of humans. In the end, he was the fool. Under this immense malice, the misfortunes that Zero Fortune had been suppressing within himself were finally unleashed. Yet, just as Zero Fortune was about to completely turn to darkness, a group of ragged commoners walked over. Seeing them, Zero Fortune thought they were another group of bad people wanting him to absorb their misfortunes. But soon, he was shocked to find that although these people looked very poor and were all as thin as skeletons, their faces were filled with happy smiles. In contrast, those whose misfortunes he had absorbed were still frowning, feeling unsatisfied with their current lives. Just as the group was about to pass by him, Zero Fortune suddenly stopped the leading monk and loudly questioned, "Why do the humans around you look so happy? Even though I absorb misfortunes for humans, the result is that they are still not happy, and even become more and more unhappy." Shakyamuni did not mind Zero Fortune's rude behavior and told him, "True happiness is not given by others, but earned through one's own efforts. That is the real happiness." Hearing Shakyamuni's words, Zero Fortune completely broke down. He thought Shakyamuni had taken his job. If he couldn't bring happiness to humans, then he had no reason to exist as a god. He had even developed jealousy towards humans, which made Zero Fortune feel extremely humiliated. Looking at his reflection in the water, his appearance, which had become neither human nor ghost due to absorbing misfortune's resentment, erupted again in Zero Fortune's heart, transforming all his love into hatred. At this moment, Zero Fortune had completely changed, with an evil and terrifying aura permeating his whole body. He decided to slaughter humans, but just as he was about to lose his last bit of reason, a mother unhesitatingly stood in front of her child. This action once again awakened the last trace of kindness in Zero Fortune's heart. To prevent himself from continuing to suffer, Zero Fortune grabbed his own neck and split his body into 7 parts, each soul sealed an evil thought, and thus the 7 cursed gods were born.